Hello and welcome to Tribal and Indigenous Issues in Emergency Management, narrated by Judith Quadra for Foundations of Emergency Management. The definition of tribe or indigenous people is not yet clearly defined, even by the UN, although there are several characteristics that help describe such peoples. The ILO describes indigenous as descendants of original dwellers and tribes as cultural groups bounded by tradition, religion, and social networks. In any definition, self-identification is key to belong to either one. The UN abides to the ILO definition for the moment. In the world, there are at least 5,000 different groups who account of 370 million people in 70 countries as of 2009. Unfortunately, this group also count within the poorest groups in their countries. Tribes and indigenous people in the US participate in EM in different ways. There are sources available at FEMA website for tribes to develop plans and apply for funding. This, however, is a progressive endeavor that just had its major steps in the year 2010, 2012, and this year 2013. But local associations such as ITEMA and TEMAC, among others, have developed to find more resources to help tribes be more prepared for disasters. Tribes in other parts of the world are also being active. In Australia and New Zealand, Aboriginal groups are being organized by the government on how to respond to emergencies since they live in isolated areas. Also, in Taiwan, Philippines, and Indonesia, there are cases where there's still struggle to include local people in relocation efforts when their land is just too dangerous to live in. The case of Nepal and India is very interesting because they are trying to embrace little by little indigenous technologies to improve emergency management in their locations. The main issues, however, remain, and when it comes to disaster management, tribes in the world have to deal with low levels of literacy, which usually leads to language barriers and miscommunication with the government entities. There's also mistrust of the government intentions based on past experiences, especially because they think that the government is trying to steal their land or destroy sacred places. Isolation and little hazard mapping is also a problem because there's little knowledge about the flooding areas or the areas that are dangerous for settlement. There are also issues with religious beliefs, as we said before, and poverty is a great limitant to mitigation and recovery efforts since the people in these tribes or indigenous people, they don't have enough money to cover insurance. There are, however, multiple uses for tribal and indigenous knowledge. There are some examples of these, such as documenting local monitoring of plants and animal behavior as a way to forecast disasters. In India, there are examples of uses for traditional technologies for building shelters, quick and efficient with local materials. Also, in China, farmers are implementing all irrigation systems to mitigate from floodings. Finally, there are also great value in this group's traditional forms of communication and togetherness since they know how to associate and work together. Thank you for your attention.